Here.
Hi everyone. Sorry we're running a little late tonight. Welcome to another episode of Nerds That Know. We are turning my phone on to silent. You don't need that going the whole time. For fuck's sake. This is why other people record and then edit. But we decide we're just going to do this shit live. So, with us tonight, I am Bobbi. We have Tank, the proprietor of Nostalgia Collectibles, who can hook you up with all of the comic books, video games, and other such fun things. And then Smurf is having some serious internet issues. I'm thinking it's all the ice and sleet that's happening in the Denver area. So we brought in reinforcements of the Idiot Brothers from their show My Brother is an Idiot. We have the absolute insane, and yes, I'm marrying him anyway, Gold Goon. And his
I brought my guns.
Idiot,
Oh
the
my
king.
God. Put those pea shooters away.
Pew, 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 pew.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hi.
Just because he doesn't get to have his sound effects edited out when we go live.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing.
True.
It's times like this I really understand Kayla. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Good shit.
You understand canning episodes and editing?
Their producer and edits out. So we have a bit
Not
to catch
half,
up
but
on.
quite. Sorry.
Okay, fine. We missed last week. Smurf and I were down with migraines due to the barometric pressure shifting, which is always super fun. But we're back now, and much to talk about. Starting with Boba Fett on Disney Plus. We will not discuss the episode that came out today because we don't want it for those who have not caught up. But we owned episode 1 last time we were all together. So let's go ahead. Tank was really excited about what we were talking about last time. So the second episode.
It's continuing. It's episode 2 and 3 do similar to what episode 1 is. You're getting backstory. You're getting the how did we get to this point moment to kind of open everything up, and I can appreciate it for what they're doing. They're seemingly, from what I can tell, making a mobster movie into a series in the Star Wars universe about this guy trying to take control. It's the Godfather, essentially.
Nothing wrong with that.
Especially not
So
when you're
Star
taking a
Wars
character
Godfather.
that was... Yeah, especially not when you're taking a character that was so highly misused in the original films and rebranding him as that Godfather character. I think it's really kind of a cool thing that they're doing. Giving Boba Fett his due.
Yeah, finally earning the reputation that he, has had for 40 years.
Yep.
They're also diving into his character a little bit differently than I think than what we would expect. I think the Godfather and gangster movie comparison is appropriate, but he's also got a line that he's not willing to cross in terms of how he treats other people unless they cross that line with him. And then there's also some things that he does that are super surprising that the Boba Fett of 40 years ago, I don't think that the fans would have really thought that he would have done, and he cut the restraints. I guess we could talk about episode 3, right? So he cut the restraints on, and I always screw up the name, but Kirsten.
Black Kirsten.
Yeah. When he cuts the restraints and lets him go. Boba Fett of Empire Strikes Back would not have done that. Just no way. Boba Fett of Return of the Jedi would not have done that.
That we know of. I mean,
Well,
we
and
knew so little
did-
about that character.
Didn't get, yeah, but he was obviously ruthless, and he was portrayed, and you felt the way that he looked, and the way he, the three lines that he had, and the way that people talked about him. Right, the way people talked about him as the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. You're not feared if you're not fucking just ruthless, right? So there's definitely a development and some depth that they're adding to the character, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, and that does seem to be the general premise of the show is we're giving this guy a character, and we're giving him the character that he could reasonably have considering what just happened. The last we saw him before the series was falling into the Sarlacc pit. And if that just happened to you, how would you respond?
Oh, sure. I am enjoying every bit of it.
Yeah. And it's got this Sopranos thing too. It's got that Tony Soprano feel to it a little bit with the Bethesda tank and his apparently love for animals, which we never got any of that originally. But
Right.
apparently he loves animals, and he just doesn't like humanoids in general.
Unless
Yeah,
unless it's
I
a
know a lot of
teenage
people who can agree
speeder
with
bike
that.
thing.
Yeah.
All right,
But-
so I think that so far we've had a lot of questions answered, but also a lot of questions come up watching Boba Fett, and now it's just waiting to see where we go from here.
And with today's episode, they give you a pretty good idea of what's about to happen.
Not all of us have watched today's episode.
Yeah. Well, and I can talk about a little bit because of what happened in episode 3 is he's being disrespected by everybody. No one believes him. No one sees him as a boss. All of the other bosses in the area don't care that he exists, basically. And, that's it. Like, he has to find a way to take control without apparently being a ruthless dictator. Is his idea here. It's like, I don't want to kill everybody. Let's give, I want
still
people to
don't
want
agree.
me to be the boss.
I still don't know what his issue is with the litter. Like, if I had the opportunity to be carried around everywhere, I would totally fucking take it.
Well, he's taking the old school general's approach, and that's I'm part of the army. I'm not above it.
Which
So I'm
I
gonna be on my
understand
feet. Yeah,
from
that's all it
a
is.
leadership perspective.
Let's also
But again, I've wandered around on a litter since watching History of the World. We have Chris Nympho being carried.
move that miserable piece of shit.
That was not what I was gonna. I figured you were gonna say Aladdin, to be honest. And,
No,
with
I watched
History
the
of
world way before I watched Aladdin.
Alrighty.
You guys keep chasing him. I'm just gonna be over here, walk around,
Running in
circle.
circle.
Now I feel like we need to have a whole discussion about Mel Brooks on an upcoming episode where we can all rank our favorites. History of the World is the best of all of the Mel movies, and then that's where Goon and I start to veer away from other because Falls, he's tights, but we do agree on Young Frankenstein. So,
Young Frankenstein's number 2. Actually, Blazing Saddles is number 2.
So you're both
Young
wrong.
Frankenstein's
Blazing
number
Saddles
3. Spaceballs number 4.
You're both wrong. Blazing Saddles is number 1.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles is number 1.
Oh, History of the World is number.
History of the World is it's
History of the World number 2.
Mm,
All right, so
Write that one down. We're gonna revisit that.
yeah, we're definitely throwing that on the list of revisit and come back
Right.
because there is much discussion that needs to happen there. You guys are
Going back to the litter thing, that actually isn't surprising for Boba Fett. He doesn't seem like the kind that ever had or wants that kind of luxury ever, right? So
plus, he has a very obvious disdain for the Hutts.
Oh.
So, and that's kind of their behavior. So he's
Right.
trying to distance himself as far away from that behavior as possible.
Right.
Which I
Oh,
get.
and I'll say this, like, sorry, go ahead.
It was just for him. I completely understand why he's not using the litter. I completely understand it. I just think that they're cool.
Oh, it's a cool way to go into a room, I guess, right? Or street.
All right. Add that to the wedding list. I'll drop down from the ceiling. You can come in on a litter.
Fantastic.
Oh, no, you should
right.
shoot out of the floor, like get launched up through the floor.
No, he wants to
That sounds
down.
Yeah, I want to repel from either the ceiling or the side of a building, like
Yeah,
Phantom
only-
of the Opera.
I'll only support that if you do it Aussie style with face down instead of back down. You got to like run down whatever you're running down and repel that way. That's the only way I'm going to allow that to happen.
See, I think you got to do
Well,
it.
I was just
SWAT
thinking it
style.
like da, 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 music playing, and I'm covering my face with a cape. You know,
And do the
like, I'm not holding on
superhero
to anything.
do the superhero landing.
Yeah,
Honestly, I was thinking
Which
SWAT
is really
style.
bad for your knees.
You got to
Yeah.
literally do it from the roof of where you guys are getting married, and then through the window into an assault roll.
This is turning into an Owen Hart situation, and I don't think I can get behind it.
And this is why we are going to make the most epic landing team ever. All right.
And a completely unrelated but not note: when did the Hutt start getting chin tattoos? Did I miss that?
I don't remember Jabba
I
having
don't remember
one.
Jabba having one, but the twins both have. At least the sister does. She's got the square,
Yeah.
right? And I think he's got a little something. I'm gonna have to
They
go back
both
and
have
watch it again.
some kind of
Some sort of-
design.
Yeah.
it's
Like,
the new
are
style.
Are the Hutts Maoris now? Is that what's going on?
God, I hope that's not what they're doing. That's weird.
That
It's
is
the
so
new
weird.
style. I mean, it has been 60 years since we've seen a Hutt, so fashion has probably changed in that amount of time.
How old do you
That's-
think those
that's
movies are?
really the only way they can accessorize.
They said it's 60 years later
No,
No.
or something like that, don't
It
they?
can't possibly be 60 years
it's
later.
literally like months to potentially a year or two, something like that.
It's not even that long. Like we just saw, you just put the timelines together, right? We saw Luke as a Jedi show up at the
Yeah.
end of the last season of The Mandalorian, and then Boba Fett went off to go kill go kill Bib Fat Tuna, right?
Yeah.
So like that timeline it's like 6 years.
Yeah,
Maybe.
no, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very
Okay.
short timeline. This
60
is like
years, 6 years.
This
Fashion
is like-
changes, right?
right before. I guess technically this would be right before Ben Solo is being born. Technically,
So right now,
Right.
while Boba Fett is trying to take over and amass power, and Leia are getting busy.
Yep. Essentially, yeah.
All right. So
Or Jason Jaina, depending on how you look at it. I mean, whatever.
I think we have to accept their chronology currently.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Their headcanon has changed a few things.
Just a bit. Just a bit. I did read a fan theory that Mara Jade was in Jabba's throne room and was going to kill Luke when he showed up to kill Jabba and never got the chance. That was a really interesting fan theory that I read. I was like, come on, let's just no.
Well, and we're going to be getting they're going to be introducing some more characters. That's especially what they're bringing in Black Chrysanthemum in there.
Right. And they've already mentioned Thrawn.
Yeah, that's attaching them to very recent history
Mhm.
with the Black
Yep.
Chrysanthemum thing.
Yep.
So yeah, they're going to be doing something interesting, it looks like.
Well, I know what I'm watching when we're done.
Mm-hmm.
other than filled with fanfic.
Yep.
You know? They
Fanfic
probably
with
had
money.
more fanfic than most other pop culture references.
Well, technically, fanfic wrote those stories for 40
Exactly.
years or 30 years.
Yeah.
They're rewriting it now.
They're rewriting it currently. Yeah.
All right. While we're talking about fanfic, let's jump over to another series that is wrought fan fiction, and that is Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is currently a 2-part play, and incredibly boring at that. I've read this. I've read the actual script of the play. I have the book. I've listened to it on audio, trying to get through it because it's terrible. It's fucking terrible.
Who wrote
it's
it?
being turned into a movie. J.K. Rowling still working.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling wrote it. Her and
Okay.
Yeah, she's
some dude whose name I can't remember right now.
but Harry Potter and the Cursed Child tells the story of Harry and Ginny's middle child, who becomes a Slytherin. His first when he gets sorted into House Slytherin, and he makes best friends with Draco Malfoy's kid. Then you get into this whole fan theory that gets brought about Mort's daughter. And
That's the part that pisses everybody off. Is the hidden baby apparently that was born during the events of the final, or just before the events of the final battle for Hogwarts.
Yeah.
There's apparently a baby.
Yeah. The fan theory is that it's Bellatrix's kid.
Well, that's because it's the only one that makes sense.
Well, yeah, because even though Bellatrix was married, she would have done anything for him, for her dog.
And she was basically the only human on the earth that he actually trusted.
Yeah. So, they're turning it into a movie. The play itself is so long, you have to see it in 2 parts. I think it totals about 4.5, 5 hours in the play.
Holy fuck.
I got a weird feeling they're going to trim that shit down into the motion picture. And we're probably going to get like a 2.5 hour movie.
I fucking hope so. There is so much crap in the play version. Like, I am a huge Harry fan. Everybody knows that. I have a Harry Potter tattoo. Right? My oldest niece and I talk on a regular basis about her fan theories in Harry Potter because she's reading all of the books for the first time. Yeah.
That was one of the prerequisites for dating you, was taking the test to find out which house I was in.
This is true.
No joke. Either Hufflepuff or Gryffindor.
PSM Kink profile.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's House Slytherin. I now know what his kink profile looks like as well, and I also made him take the love languages quiz. I'm like, hey, we're getting serious. I need to know what your kinks are, your Hogwarts house, and how you express emotion.
Did you do your Ingram yet? What kind of human are you?
No. We haven't done that one.
Make him take the didn't I send you the link for the what kind of pet are you? And yours came out as fox.
Yep, I'm a fox.
Yeah, so I did have him do that one. What kind of kinky pet player are you?
Oh, I remember that one. Yep.
Yeah.
I am a fox.
That's
Matt is stunned silence right now.
No, there's just so many things I could say. It's the jokes just write themselves.
See, I got
Say what you want. I don't care.
I know. That's the beautiful thing about it.
I took it too. I was asked. That's fine. I came out as the Black Panther, so
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, okay. calm down there, T'Challa.
Which was actually his youngest name for quite a while.
Yeah.
But she's a little too Aryan looking. Nickname of T'Challa.
Yeah, a little bit.
Those little blonde curl blue eyes.
Not much pigmentation on that child.
Well, she was conceived shortly after that movie, after going to see that movie. So
that same night, if memory serves.
We believe so, yeah.
I'm just.
Oh yeah, I got yoked up with Black Panther.
Tank's super excited about Black Panther. Wakanda forever!
just shouting Imam Bay.
Imam
Bay! Imam Bay! Imam Bay!
Oh, it's so good.
That's worth the price of admission right there. Well done. Well done.
Hashtag Tank is Black Panther.
Yep. Obviously. I mean,
look at it.
Clearly. Yeah, clearly.
Me and Chadwick, twins, right here.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you know what? Mark has a twin that's about the same as you and Chadwick.
It's true.
It's like Boone's son.
It's true. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because if I was black and he was white, we would look the same, according to some people.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's how the story goes.
That is a sentence that has been said. I was there.
And that's why I have a black twin.
Right? Happens to be my son.
Yep.
You got me. You busted me on that one. I got nothing.
We broke Tank.
All right,
man.
so off of Harry Potter, and let's go into another movie that had mixed reviews. Not really sure. They need to be making 2 more of them. And I've noticed with Mason Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds. All of them are, back, and they're going to be filming parts 2 and 3 together. It was a cute movie. I enjoyed it. It was incredibly predictable. And what are they going to do for 2 and 3?
Make money.
Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13. That's what they're
legit.
doing.
Yep.
So they'll just invite a couple more of their friends in each one.
I 100% believe that's actually what's happening in this. Yes.
So this is just a very expensive version of Sharknado, where they just keep making them because people want them, and they just keep inviting their friends to play.
Sharknado was such a better movie.
All right. I got rid of the last asshole who talked like that.
It was a better movie. At least the first one was.
So the fun thing about Sharknado is it's fan source, and all the funding came from actors who just wanted to be on the movie. They were just like, here's a couple $100,000. I want to be eaten by a CGI shark.
Yeah, I don't support the ones that came after the first one, but the first one, I'll defend that one. That was an interesting movie choice.
Well, it knew what it was. It knew what it was trying to be. It knew what it was. It didn't make any apologies.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make an absurd 80s inspired creature monster movie.
The series in itself of Sharknado, I think, was just an epic way to watch, Tara Reid's skin become more and more like leather.
Yeah.
Her plastic surgery started to get progressively worse as each movie went on.
She turned more and more into a Louis Vuitton handbag through every single movie.
Was
she in the last one?
Oh yeah, she was in every single one.
Really? I didn't know.
I
never watched the.
Yeah, she's the only constant.
She's the only one who
There's
doesn't
a
die.
reason for that.
I watched it, but I've seen snippets, and this is just because we are friends. And Sharknado is his favorite TV or movie series of all time. It was actually at a con years ago with him.
Somehow.
And got him like some Sharknado sunglasses. Yeah.
See, I preferred Lava Lantula, so.
If we're gonna go with Mimi Kaijus, we gotta go old school and go like Godzilla versus Gigan with Jet Jaguar. I mean, can't go wrong with Jet Jaguar. I love Jet Jaguar.
Is that the one you had me watch the other day?
Hell yes, it is.
Just making sure.
With the world's worst anime song at the end of it.
Jet Jaguar, Jet Jaguar,
Jet Jaguar, King, King, King.
Wow, wow, wow.
But
anyways, Red Notice.
slide back into what we were talking about here.
Yeah.
That seems like a giant waste of money and time.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to take the time to watch
There
it.
are many who will watch, and it'll be free because it'll be on Netflix.
Right.
Well, free.
Well,
Paying for the subscription.
In the sense of
Right.
I don't know, Disney Plus, where you have the subscription and you still have to pay $20 to $30 to watch a movie.
Yeah, okay.
You
I
know,
see.
Netflix doesn't rape you twice.
I think
So
they'll
they just-
release the second, and if the second one doesn't do anything, then they can just can the third because it's already filmed and like, it's fuck it. You
Well, at
know.
that point, you might as well try and get views out of it if you're paying for it.
That's true.
I mean, it'll get the views just
Right.
the same as we all
True.
went and saw all of the various Oceans movies.
There wasn't anything really wrong with the movie. It was what it was. It was
Yeah.
mindless entertainment. It was
And very
Dwayne
predictable.
Johnson and Ryan Reynolds and Gal. I mean, it was predictable, but you wanted to sit down for 2 hours and watch something that you just were just going to watch and just have a good time with. So that's what it
And
was.
it's a heist movie.
It was
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
And like all good heist movies, he's in there.
Well, at this
Because
point, you
why
got to work
not?
Nazis into everything. So
Right.
So, all right. Well, while we're talking about Gal Gadot, the remake or live action remake of Snow White has had some recent news come out, and that the male lead is not going to be a prince. So instead, he's going to be just a random schmo. We don't really know.
I figured you were going to say dwarf. Like I had no idea where that was going.
Yeah.
No, so Gal Gadot is going to be the evil queen, and I'm trying to see. Andrew Burnap is going to be the male lead,
And it's not.
but he's
not Prince.
Yeah, no, he's not Prince
Interesting.
Charming.
Okay.
Maybe he becomes Prince Charming?
Yeah, that's very confusing because
Well,
that's a
I
big
guess
part of
so.
that story.
Prince Charming origin
Yeah.
story?
Well, they don't really say what exactly it's going to be as far as that goes. This guy has won a Tony Award for his performance in The Inheritance. He did the Hulu crime drama Under the Banner of Heaven. He did a TV show He Crashed. So, I mean, he's cute.
I've seen none of those things, so I have no
Yeah.
point of reference.
Yeah, I
No
But-
reference on it.
literally zero frame of reference for anything you just said.
He's kind of like this, doesn't really make sense playing opposite of Gal Gadot, in my opinion, just because I feel like she's going to definitely be the name on.
Oh, so is that like Timothy Chalamet being an action star? Where it's like, well, that doesn't really make sense, but okay.
If you guys remember, at one point, Bruce Willis was not an action star. So,
Yeah, he was a rom-com guy.
but have they said who the mirror is going to be played by?
Not that I've seen, but I can check real quick. 'Cause I'm
I can think
curious
of a
now.
bunch of really good, interesting ways to go with that.
Like Patton Oswalt, that'd be awesome.
That'd be fantastic.
That'd
They
be
would
good.
never do that.
Right.
Could see like Morgan Freeman being the mirror.
Morgan Freeman.
That'd be cool.
Right.
Or like Gilbert Gottfried would be a good choice for the
Oh,
mirror.
jeez.
Oh
My God.
I don't.
Now you're just being rude.
I love Gilbert Gottfried. He's great. Jim Gaffigan is the mirror.
I'd pay for that, actually. Yeah, I'd do that.
Mhm. Let's see that.
Hot
They have to insert
Queen.
a 5-minute monologue about Hot Pocket.
Hot Queen.
Mirror pockets.
And then he has to shoot him out of the mirror.
Right. Have a hot pocket. They're delightful.
I mean, he's.
All right, hold on. Here we go.
Can you imagine him like having a self dialogue as the mirror, and then with his audience goofy voice that he has.
Or just like portraying the queen. You don't even care what I think.
guy's-
Here's that pale white guy in the mirror. He's ugly.
This guy's blind. Can't he see anything? I'm clearly the hottest.
That's the only female he gets to see.
We just wrote the whole movie. It's
Yeah, I
awesome.
think you did, actually.
See, Lily Collins is in the mirror.
That's
Really?
kind of an interesting
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
So that's what I'm able to see thanks to Google's.
Thanks,
Hmm.
Google.
But
Well, Google never lies.
So are they still going
this
to have
is
7
true. And if it's
dwarves?
on the internet, it must be true.
Must be.
You know who Lily Collins' dad is?
Yep.
I didn't know that. It makes sense that she would be Phil Collins' kid.
Right?
Let's see. And then Rachel Zegler, who was in West Side Story, is going to be Snow White.
Okay.
Right, but okay, so this story is based on the Disney version of the story, right?
Correct. This is based on the Disney. They will have music. I know that some of the Disney live actions have music removed from them.
Jungle
This
Book.
is going to music. So the guy wrote music for Dear Evan Hansen and La La Land are the music for this.
Original or for Dear Evan Hansen, the original music or the movie music?
For the stage show.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, I mean, I'll give it a shot.
I mean, we'll see what happens.
Mm.
You know, we're going to be doing their live action Little Mermaid coming out pretty soon. But you know, we'll have to
All
wait
the
and
live
see.
action movies have been pretty enjoyable for the most part, I think, right? Like,
As long
I
as we-
really enjoyed. Well, The Lion King was bad.
The Lion
The
King
Lion
was
was
the
the same
same
movie.
damn movie. Yeah, it was the same
Yeah.
exact movie, almost
It was
word for
literally a
word.
shot-for-shot remake.
Right.
But
With one extra song.
And
And
yeah.
Aladdin was very expensive and very like bright and flashy, but not great. But The Jungle Book was really good, right?
There's
Love
the
the
winner.
Jungle Book.
That's my
Yep.
favorite one.
Love the Jungle Book. Pete's Dragon
then,
was bloody awful. One of the worst movies ever made.
I
we
didn't
try not
realize
to
that they did
acknowledge
that.
that.
Yeah, let's not.
Pete's Dragon was already done very well, you know, in the original.
I mean,
That's the one I grew up with.
most of those movies were done pretty well in the original one.
Which is why they're getting remade.
Yeah.
But my biggest complaint with all of the Disney live actions, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, any of those, is they've already transitioned to live action in a stage show where they've even updated the music. And then the movie doesn't mirror the original Disney movie or the play. So it's just kind of like loosely tied together.
You know what my issue is with them? The weird CGI mouth movements to represent the talking animals.
That's
It
fair.
freaks me out. Don't know why.
Because animals talking.
While we're on weird,
I could get by with them talking, but it's the weird movements that the faces make.
while we're on weird, you know, mouth to, we went and saw. This is way off base, but we went and saw Sing 2 on Sunday.
Okay, I was gonna
It
say,
was-
where are you going with this? Dude?
Yeah.
Weird
Yeah,
mouth.
so
like-
we're
Actually, we
way
can
off
talk about
base.
Sing 2 because 3 of us have seen it.
Yeah,
That's true.
but movie was awesome. I thought it was really cute. It was a great kids movie. Lots of really good music. I was drawn in by the fact that they opened the show with Prince, so that was good. But Sting, the big giant lion, the singing voice did not match the big giant lion at all.
No.
You know who it is, right?
Or not Sting, not Bono, not Sting. Sorry.
Yeah, Bono. Yeah.
Yeah. It did not, like, the grumbly that he did for the acting part matched the lion, but when he comes out and sings, it's like,
Not even
that's just
close.
definitely Bono. It doesn't even look like the lion. So
No.
it weirded me out a little bit. The rest of the movie was awesome, but that part was a little bit.
Tank, what was
Weird.
your takeaway from Sing 2?
It was better than I thought it could be. 'Cause I loved the first movie. No, it's not a shot at the movie. I loved the first movie. That's one of my favorite animated movies in the last decade. I loved that movie. And so when they said they were making another one, I'm like, oh god, don't fuck this up, please, because I actually really enjoyed the first one. So the fact that they told an interesting story and gave us good music and, you know, didn't completely screw up the first one is actually cool. I'm glad. I wish Mike was there in the second one, but he was not, so I just have to deal with that, I guess.
I didn't see the first one.
I liked the little ties to the first one, like having the gorillas.
The Monkey
Yeah.
Protective Services.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. But we went and saw it, and Dad had rented out the whole movie theater, so it was just our family. And then all of the little kids turned it into a dance party and a place to play tag, and it was a good time.
That was such a cool experience. Whoop.
So definitely worth the watch.
Oh,
Sing
yeah.
2.
100%. Give it a shot.
It'll have to be one that I stream. Yeah. I'm going to be
Yeah.
streaming that one.
Oh yeah, you know, it's one that I probably wouldn't have gone to see in the theater if it hadn't been like a big family outing.
Same here.
But it was, and it was nice because we had all of the Colorado nieces and nephews together. You know, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. Yeah, so 9 of them. I had to figure out all of the family members. You know, and then all of the local, you know, siblings were at least represented by their spouse if they themselves could not be there. So it was nice. You know, we had age 1 through age 14, you know, and aunts and uncles, and they all had a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
Agreed.
So, jumping over to something that's completely unrelated, and that is Disney Plus has decided that they're going to make a TV series out of the Hugh Jackman movie Real Steel.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yay!
Not familiar with this. This is where robots, basically MMA style boxing, everything combined, get into a ring and beat the shit out of each other. And Hugh Jackman is a retired boxer who built up this robot with his kid, and then instead of just programming what the robot should do, he puts on this like whole geared getup thing and basically fights on the sidelines, and the robot mimics his movements. It was kind of a big flop when it came out. And now Disney Plus has decided, let's take this crappy movie that most people didn't enjoy and turn it into a TV series.
Is Hugh Jackman playing the title role again?
He has not signed on yet.
I
So
don't
this
actually.
is still in early stages.
There
Actually-
was a sequel to that movie.
Was there?
There was Real Steel 2.
I did not know
And it-
that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, make that a clean sweep.
I actually didn't hate the first movie, but that's because I viewed it as it's a father and son movie.
Yeah.
Where you're kind of, it's about them connecting and having their relationship and all that stuff, which makes it super confusing based on what happened at the end of that movie, that there'd be a sequel and a series. Because it was pretty wrapped up at the end of the first movie.
Which is why I'm really surprised there was a sequel.
I actually lied about that. It was fan theory. I was just looking. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a full cast
Explains
listing and
why-
everything for it.
This explains why none of us knew that there was a sequel.
Yeah, I was like,
I make-
that's
Exactly. Wow.
crazy. I even knew that there was a Pacific Rim 2. I didn't watch it, but I knew it existed.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, before we went live, isn't that the one that you got confused for Real Steel?
Yeah, they're the same thing. It's robots. It's the Pacific
Okay.
Rim is basically Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and kaiju, and Real Steel is Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and they're interchangeable. They're the same thing. It's just a mech movie in a different fashion, live action. So my niece really enjoyed Pacific Rim, named one of her cars after one of the mechs. But she's a big anime fan and loves the mech series animes. I didn't care for Pacific Rim, and Real Steel was Rock'em Sock'em Robots. The actual toys that they sold was Rock'em Sock'em
It was
Robots,
Rock'em Sock'em
branded
Robots.
as real. It was literally Rock'em Sock'em Robots. They
They
just
just
branded it
repainted
as Real
them.
Steel. Right.
Because they just repainted them instead of being red and blue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, they were red and blue too. In the movie, they were red and blue.
Yep.
Yeah, but not like the solid, like the old school Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Right. They weren't solid plastic head popping off in one direction.
Although
But-
that would have been cool.
Sometimes
And
I
this-
wish my head could do that.
So do we.
There are times where I'm tempted.
On my screen, Bobby's face is frozen in the fashion of, I wish your head was doing that right now.
And
I don't know if they were necessarily interchangeable, Mark. I think Pacific Rim was more of a riff on the 1970s Shogun Warriors. And those toys as a kid were awesome. That was before they figured out they couldn't have things that shot out of toys.
oh yeah,
So, everyone talks about the Boba Fett with the rocket that actually shot out of his backpack. That thing's a super rare collector's item right now. Shogun Warriors were the same things. They had missiles that would shoot out of it. The hands would shoot out of it. They had a whole TV series around it. Giant robots, and that was
well, yeah. It's
Pacific Rim.
Gundam meets kaiju.
right.
Yeah. Just a mech show.
Mm-hmm.
Just a big mech show.
It was awesome.
You want a fun mech show, you got to sit through that one that you still won't watch.
Voltron.
I
No,
watched
not
it.
Voltron.
I watched the whole first season of that pile of crap.
Oh, you did not watch all of it then.
Yes,
You
I
have
did.
not seen the third
What
Impact.
show?
What's the name of that stupid
The hell, yeah, it's with that annoying, stupid girl pilot, and they have to the angels and the they got the impact.
Evangelion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've watched the entire.
I loved
season.
Evangelion.
God,
Tank,
I
you
just
want
couldn't-
a mind? Just watch Evangelion. It's one of the best animes ever made, but it is bizarre.
Okay.
'Cause it starts as a mech show and then turns into
something else altogether.
oh yeah.
I just
The third
couldn't get
Impact.
past. I just couldn't get past the annoying girl pilot who was yelling all the time. Every
drunk?
time she got a
Oh,
No,
protagonist
no,
screaming?
no.
That's an anime staple.
right. No,
Are you talking about the dead one?
the third pilot?
The other one,
the
not
redhead.
the
Yeah,
dead
the
one.
redhead. Every time she spoke, it was like whoever did the voice acting was just awful. I was like, I can't watch this. And even I tried watching it with subtitles, and it was no. I like anime as much as the next guy. That one just didn't do it.
You don't though. You don't like anime as much as the next guy.
Sure, I do.
No, you don't.
I guess it just depends on who the next guy is.
Right.
Liar.
All right. So moving on from the liars and animes to let's go ahead and touch base on Peacemaker, new TV series that DC is coming out. That DC came out with. Tank, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the lead on this one because you are the one who has watched it.
Yes, I did. Yeah, so the story takes place 6 months after the end of Suicide Squad. So it essentially starts with Peacemaker leaving the hospital after getting shot in the neck and having the building dropped on him and all that stuff in Suicide Squad.
Okay.
And it's the fallout of that, basically, is he doesn't know what's going to happen. He leaves the hospital thinking he's getting away because he's supposed to be in jail for 30 years still. And then Waller's team finds him and has a new mission for him. And then it proceeds to give you more information about his history and his past, and essentially he went through, how to be a psycho training camp when he was a kid, and how his dad's a huge sack of shit, and then had a horrible impact on him and stuff like that. And it has more heart than you would expect. It kind of sits in that Deadpool territory where the story is goofy and weird and over the top, but there actually is some emotional resonance, and then that that immediately gets bitten by dick jokes, and that's basically the whole thing. I mean, it's interesting, it's weird. John Cena is the corniest motherfucker on the planet, and it's perfect for him to take that kind of role.
Fabulous.
I cannot take him seriously.
Oh, you can't. I know, and you shouldn't. Peacemaker should
Yeah,
not
you're
be
not
taken
supposed to.
seriously. Yeah.
Right.
Peacemaker
I
should
can't
not be
take him
taken seriously. They make that very obvious, very early, that he is a fucking idiot, and that's.
I mean, this is the same character that declared that if there was a beach full of dicks, he would gladly
suck
eat
it,
every
yes.
one of them in the name of liberty.
Yeah,
So
and it continues on that path.
I forgot about that line, but yeah.
And yeah, it continues on that path, and they bring in some decent actors, and they introduce some interesting characters that you wouldn't expect from DC. A lot of lesser known characters, like they have the White Dragon, which is a very unknown thing. They have the bad guys are the butterflies, which is an interesting thing, and I think is leading us into another DC feature in the near future. I'm assuming that they're going to kind of piggyback off of that. And it's over the top violence, boobs, dick jokes, all the stuff you love from rated R superhero show.
Huh. DC's finally maybe realizing that they're taking themselves a little bit too seriously.
Well, I think they're partially following the pattern that they did with Titans,
Doom Patrol.
yeah, and Doom Patrol, where it's, you know, more grounded, a little bit, you know, darker, a little bit edgier, you know, the whole fuck Batman thing with Titans and stuff like that, where it's taken that approach where it shouldn't be taken seriously, but it's a weird take on an interesting character that doesn't get much recognition, basically. And it's James Gunn, so it's balls ass crazy, you know, from beginning to end.
I can get behind that.
DC has always done well on the small screen, in my opinion. You know, I feel like their TV series, their TV shows have been way better than their movies. So the fact that this is something that, you know, we're saying, yeah, go out there and watch it.
Oh yeah, and if you have HBO Max, I mean, it's on there. First 3 episodes are up. 4th episode is tomorrow, I believe.
Well, yeah, we all have HBO Max, so we'll be caught up by next show.
Yes, thank you, unnamed relative that I shall not mention the name of here, for letting me borrow your HBO Max.
We actually had this talk, 2 months ago, about how with streaming services, everybody shares.
Yeah, basically. I mean, and that's and the companies know that, and there's not really anything they can do to prevent it at this point. So
well, that's why they allow for so many profiles to be made.
Yeah.
One household pays for Disney, one household pays for Netflix, one household pays for, ESPN, whatever. It's just, and then everybody shares.
Nobody pays for ESPN.
Well, I'm pretty sure Dad does. But that's just because they have satellite TV.
I was going to say that's because he has cable, yeah. I'm saying, like, the ESPN Plus, the only people who actually pay for ESPN Plus are fans of Premier Soccer. That's basically it.
And degenerate gamblers.
Well, there are probably some degenerate gamblers there, but they don't really show too many games on those channels, on that channel.
There's a ton of hockey
a lot of
on
boxing matches, though.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. There is a decent amount of hockey on there. Okay, so Canadians and soccer fans.
And degenerates.
And degenerates.
I feel like all of those overlap so well.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a
We
lot
know
of
all of
Canadian
those
degenerates.
Where's dipshit when we need her?
Right?
All right. While we're talking about degenerates, Microsoft is going to acquire Activision.
Yes! Yes! That was such a good transition.
That's good segue.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Matt, take notes. A++ for that one. Yes!
Yeah, well done.
All right. So what do we think about this?
Microsoft has, at this point, purchased Activision, Blizzard, all of their subsidiaries.
$68.7 billion.
Right.
That's billion with a B.
Which seems like a giant amount of money, but considering the IP that just got purchased, it's not like they're not going to get it back.
Right.
I mean, they just bought World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot.
Overwatch.
Yeah.
Candy
Overwatch.
Crush. They got Candy Crush.
Yeah, they bought some of the biggest IP in the world.
Right.
And, it makes them which is weird considering how much money they just spent and the fact that they just bought Bethesda like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
They are still only the 3rd biggest publisher for video games in the world. Because Sony is still ahead of them. And then the one that not many people know about, but you've played their game at some point, is Tencent. Is one of the biggest ones, and that's because they basically make every single mobile game you've ever played.
Interesting. Well, I was wondering, leading up to this, why it was taking so long for Activision to kind of clean up their act after, the strikes and everything. And, what is it?
Scumbag,
They had 44
sex
people
scandals and-
leave, and then another 55 people got disciplined. Yet the CEO kept his job the whole time, and you wondered why that was. How long until he resigns after this?
He's being paid to leave. I don't believe he's going to be part of the company moving forward.
I'm sure that Microsoft wants to get rid of him. That's
Yeah.
he's a giant shit stain. So that's.
We had an over-under bet going. My notebook that has that in it is actually at the house. And I'm out in the BFE of the farmlands. But there was actually a bet going with Tank, Smurf, and Stash as to how long it would be until this CEO got the boot.
Well, and at this point, I wonder if they're going to pay him off early and just remove him, or if he's going to be part of the transition. I would assume it would be the former, just to get rid of him as quick as they can.
And they have not said yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know as far as, what was it, 3 or 4 days ago, there was a giant Wall Street Journal report on the whole thing right before the purchase was announced that he was remaining in power through this whole, sorry about that, in transition phase where they were trying to clean house and do all that kind of stuff. He was still remaining in power, which was widely frowned upon.
Well, yeah, because he was the one covering all of it up. And
So what we know so far is that he is going to continue to serve as the CEO of Activision Blizzard for now, but he will not remain once the deal is fully closed after the transition period to Microsoft.
Which will be roughly this time next year, I assume.
So,
hi, Miss Sarah.
we'll see.
We love you, Sarah.
Yeah, because they have to still go through, everything. They have to go through all the courts. They have to go through a monopoly investigation. They have to go through all of that stuff. So it's going to be a year at least, I assume, at this point.
But we'll see if there are any more scandals that come out of Blizzard between now and then, and if he gets booted before.
There will be.
I'm assuming there will be. Mm-hmm. And, it's probably a guarantee that there will be more stuff coming out at this point, because they're going to want to air all the dirty laundry before Microsoft takes over.
How many of those 44 employees and 55 employees that got disciplined, 44 employees that left, signed non-disclosure agreements, and how many haven't yet that they're still trying to get to do the NDAs before they leave the company? Somebody's not going to sign an NDA and come loose because they want to book.
The answer to that question, Mark, is every single one of them that left signed one, and they all got paid handsomely for it, because that's the only way you're going to get around that. Because like you said, they're going to want to have the book or the story or do the talk circuit or whatever.
I'm just saying that there's, we're dealing with a couple thousand people that work for this company, and almost 100 have maybe signed those NDAs. Somebody's got some dirt that they're going to be exposing here pretty soon.
Well,
there's a lot of money involved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have been. Somebody's been saying stuff still. There is still an internal source that continues to talk to the media. So somebody there is still, saying whatever they need to.
I guarantee you the people that have left have all signed it and have all been paid.
I'm sure that happened, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why they left.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they resigned with a fat paycheck.
Mm-hmm. They got the silver parachute.
So the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, is saying, all of this. We want to treat every person with dignity and respect. We hold, teams and leaders to this commitment. So they're extending that culture of proactive inclusion to the great teams across Activision Blizzard, is the exact quote.
That sounds a lot like they're about to cut that dude's head off.
Yep. They're expecting the deal to be completed in the fiscal year of 2023 because they're saying it could take up to 18 months for the whole thing to get through all the courts and get fully approved.
Yep. And that's if
Yeah.
everything gets approved.
Right.
So yeah,
Which at
but
this
that's
point
the current estimate.
they would have no. They're not really going to have a chance at claiming monopoly on them just because of Sony, basically, who already is a monopoly. Technically, they produce the content, distribute the content, own the TVs that you watch the content on.
And the
So-
gaming systems.
Yeah, and
They're gonna
the
have a pretty
equipment that
big
you play it on.
Yeah, they're going to have trouble claiming Microsoft as a monopoly at this point, so it should pass through pretty quickly.
Well, and especially because Microsoft is smart enough to have their company siloed. So
Oh yeah,
Bless
Well, they
you.
Thank you.
5 different presidents.
And all the different actual companies that are all under the same umbrella, but they're all
Yep.
technically different organizations.
Right.
Mhm. But yeah, I mean, it's good for Microsoft. It's smart. It gives them a lot of IP that's active or potentially can be renovated. And I mean, it's just the same thing they did with Bethesda at this point. They're gonna. I mean, I don't see how PlayStation doesn't sign a content agreement at this point. Just because there's going to be so much stuff that's usually cross-platform,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you look at Call of Duty, which
Right.
is a gigantic franchise still. So yeah, I don't know.
We'll wait and see what happens, but
Mhm.
$68 billion is just
It's impressive.
Can I have like
staggering.
percent of that? That would be nice.
Yeah, wouldn't need much to be a millionaire.
Right?
Yeah, that's just crazy. All right, so that wraps up the agenda for the evening. Does anyone have any movies, books, TV shows, anything else that we should have our listeners out there go and check into?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
You can ask if you had a question.
I have a question.
Okay.
Matt,
Go
you're
ahead.
ugly.
That is his question every time he does a
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. That one actually never makes the cast. He just throws it in there.
He was smart. He snuck it into the live one.
Yeah, he got into the live one. He was going to do it. He's going to do it one way or the other. Yeah.
When the brothers of Goon record My Brother is an Idiot, I know when I have to start, like taking away the dog's squeaky toys or put on my headphones because Mark calls Matt an idiot. He claps, and then they record
Yeah.
because they, make sure that everybody's like synced up on their mics. And then I know that the show is over when he lists off all the locations, and then we get bruh, Gene Mingo.
Spiders.
And that is how you know that the episode of My Brother's an Idiot has wrapped up,
Right.
because the word bruh.
Yeah, bruh.
It's a formula. It works
Mm-hmm.
for our
It's
7
a
listeners.
system, and I decoded the secret.
You've done well. You've done well.
She's
plus,
only been listening
now
to
got
it for.
Gene Mingo mentioned multiple times on this show, so you
Right.
guys should be happy.
We love Gene Mingo. I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited to see what Moon Knight turns out to be.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
You didn't think about that, yeah.
I
that
didn't think about it
that
either.
trailer and the trailer, it's like more of a teaser than a trailer. It covers some stuff, but they're really going to dive into the mental health aspect of it. I think
Yep.
with the psychosis and the what's the word I'm looking for? Not psychosis. The
multiple personalities.
Yes, that. Yeah. See, words.
I mean, that was
old.
the big thing about Moon Knight is he
Right.
was controlled by the Egyptian god and had multiple personalities.
Yeah,
throughout.
he has
Oh my god, Moon Knight! I know we talk about it oft, and I think before I was able to get on this podcast, I mentioned it oft in the chat how exciting I was for the Moon Knight. Yeah, I was, if not the number one fan, the number two fan of this show coming out. Number one being Dipshit, but I am beyond ready for Moon Knight.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what they do with it. And really, Oscar Isaac. Jesus. Guy came out of fucking nowhere too, and just all this geek cred. Like, dude, what are you doing? Right. You're owning the geek space.
Everything.
You're completely owning it, and you're Leto Atreides for God's sake, and now you're fucking Moon Knight. I mean, slow down. Save something for the rest of us, bro.
Small part of me that hopes that we get a small Easter egg of him leaning back into his apocalypse thing from X-Men Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh, that's one of the identities. He is the mutant god.
Well, and Marvel does that, right? They have these callbacks to when they fuck shit up, and then they'll either fix it or just call it out. Like, see what we did? We screwed this up, and now we're just going to make fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the things I love about what Marvel does on the big screen. It's just like, yeah, we screwed up. Sorry. Here, we fixed it for you. Here you go. Have it back.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then them showing how he costumes up was cool as hell.
Oh,
that was one of the coolest, get suited up kind of things that they've ever done with They took the really interesting approach to basically wrap him like a mummy,
Right.
That was really cool.
Yep.
And that was the whole thing. So they're doing it right, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. So can't wait for that for sure. Also very excited for, and I know it's still a couple months out, but Doctor Strange looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. And hopefully we'll get a couple other cameos. I did read, and I'll maybe just ask the panel here, I read another theory that the emergence from the Eternals is what actually is going to kickstart mutants. And they're going to use that as this started all of mutants because they got to drop them in somehow, right?
I don't know which one they're gonna go with because they have a lot of things they can do, honestly.
Right. I feel like they will always have been here.
The Eternals would be a way to do it. That would be like, all right, well, that's a good reason why we had the Eternals because it certainly wasn't for the movie itself.
Well, I mean, they introduced the Black Knight,
right?
Yeah. Well, I get that, and sort of introduced Blade, and did all the things with the cutscenes, but the movie itself was.
Yeah, we still got Pip. We got Pip, dude. We got Pip. Come on.
I finally watched it
again. Cutscene.
It wasn't terrible, but it seemingly had zero connection to comic books. Unless you knew who the characters
were. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good.
It was boring.
I understand why Mom really liked it.
Yeah. But unless
everything else was going, this is not a comic book movie.
Well, and it has, unless you know who the Eternals are, which basically nobody does unless you're a Jack Kirby fan, you don't know shit about this movie. There would be no interest to you except for the mentions of, Captain Rogers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But realistically,
Star Power too.
Yeah, there's not much. They could have done a lot more, considering the source material.
Oh yeah,
that would have made it more interesting and actually connected it to the world.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. But going back to the mutants thing, I don't think they can launch the whole backstory of Magneto and Charles Xavier and how not necessarily the way they've shown it to this point, but you still have to have that tragic history of Magneto. And going back into whatever war they choose. I hope they choose World War II to tell that story again, because I think that has a lot of depth and meaning and a lot of historical significance to that character. But I think this is going to, what I read was, this is going to be the thing that kicks loose mutants into the MCU, and this is going to be the event that we get. So excited to see what comes.
I'm assuming there's going to be some shenanigans involved with it and with the casting. You're basically going to have to accept that universal time travel exists, which they've kind of said does. Because if you're going to have the World War II story with Magneto, who are you going to have play that? Because it'd be an 80-year-old man at the youngest at this point.
Yeah, unless he was a child, right? I mean,
well, that's what it would be. That's what I'm saying. It would be 40s to now. That is an 80-year. That it would be a toddler during World War II.
Right.
Unless you want this dude to be nearing 100.
Right. So we'll have to see how they play it, but it's going to be super interesting.
But still excited about it.
Agreed.
A lot of stuff coming out. I think that we have a lot to look forward to in the MCU. Looks like the DC, small screen is taking off again. So hopefully, eventually, that'll catch up with the big screen. Because right now, their big screen movies are just not fantastic.
Well, I mean, we're getting the Batman in March.
Yep.
That looks pretty interesting.
Hey, the fact that they turned Riddler into a legit serial killer, John Doe style, is kind of cool. Yeah. So hopefully
I do like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not the Jim Carrey Riddler, which was fun, but that was it was fun. That was it.
That was back to the '66 Riddler.
Yeah, that was the theme though of those movies, right? It was supposed to be over the top campy, while not being over the top campy, but still being over the top campy.
That's why Michael Keaton left, because they went way too over the top campy.
Right, I know, and put nipples on the Batsuit. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, and completely off topic, but I am pretty excited. We get Pokemon Legends Arceus, I think, next week or the week after. So we get a new video game coming in the next couple weeks. And
I believe it's the week following, so like the 25th or 26th.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. I don't know. I've got the pre-order already, so I get to stop and pick that up. And it's the Breath of the Wild style Pokemon game where the Pokemon actually fight the actual person instead of just an actual Pokemon, and kind of a full world. It's their first full world Pokemon game, which is a lot of fun, and throwback to ancient Sinnoh, and they keep dropping hints about it. It looks a lot of fun, and more cards coming out too. Duchess, the V-Star series comes out about the same time. So
the Brilliant just went out for pre-order.
When is there that secret climax?
That's all Japanese stuff so far. Haven't seen much of the ultimate climax here in the States.
That's what it was.
Very interesting. But the
if you
Brilliant
want to see
Stars.
an ultimate climax, stop buying so many fucking Pokemon cards.
Oh Jesus!
Fucking shots fired. Oh!
I love you.
Hard to do while you're on the farm.
Oh.
Wow.
Don't worry, Mama. Things won't get weird.
All right. Anyway, more cards are coming soon.
I think we broke Tank twice in one episode.
Yeah.
That heavy sigh was Tank getting broken twice.
Yep.
You can see him turning colors. It's fantastic.
That was the same
His face
brokenness
is a
sound.
different color than his neck.
Mhm.
That was the same brokenness sound when I saw Hans earlier. I was dying. Goots.
Hans and the Goots.
Hans and Goots.
We'll have to have you share
It's
those
so
onto,
good.
Yeah.
onto our social media pages.
Goots.
All right. So before we call it a night,
Jesus Christ.
King Goon, why don't you
Yes,
go ahead
ma'am.
and give
King Goots.
out the social medias for you guys,
Of course.
because he's broken.
Oh, yeah. Mark's gone completely off the fucking rails. Go ahead, say Hans and Goots.
Goots.
We'll share that everywhere. And where you can find
Go
it will be. Oh, will you stop? Fuck's sake.
I'm just gonna mute him so
Yeah,
you
just
can go
mute him.
ahead
He's-
and talk.
He's Bjork Loven. So you can find us on Facebook at My Brother is an Idiot, on Twitch and Twitter at The Idiot Goons. Mark's Twitter is Poffletime. My Twitter is Poffalupagus. I also have King Goon Smoke on TikTok. My TikTok following has now surpassed my Facebook following, so that's exciting. Doing a lot of just barbecue stuff on that. So it's the prosciutto wrapped brie got a lot of. I actually got people called me about that.
That
The
looks
past
so
couple of
good.
days. It was delicious. So can't wait to see what I got to start working on what I'm going to come up with this weekend. So we'll see what that all looks like. But yeah, hit us up. Look for us. We're out there. Mark will probably have a PAX rip and stream here at some point in the next sometime, I would think, sir.
Yeah, I have one more Fusion Strike ETB I got to get through, and then the alt art VMAX Evolution packs came out. So I got a Jolteon, Flareon, and what's the water one? Vaporeon.
Vaporeon.
Yeah, and the packaging is badass. I may not open these, but they're really cool because it's they've got the VMAX and then the alt art in the same box, plus 8 or 9 packs of cards in each box. Really neat
So
stuff.
in addition to our weekly recorded and edited episodes, or weekly-ish, we also do once or twice a week Mark rips packs, and then we make fun of them and talk a little bit of sports at the same time. So those are fun. Check us out.
We'll need to have Tank guest on one of those some of these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can talk the sports and then advise Goon on selling his cards.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
that's one of the many things that Knox Nostalgic Collectibles actually does.
I'm gonna have to find some of those. That's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, they're really neat.
Just
Really
don't let your oldest see that, because then she'll rip through the packaging and.
Oh, I'm gonna find it so that she can.
Oh, okay. All right.
Barnes & Noble,
Nerds That
apparently.
Know is going to be on all of the socials under Nerds That Know. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So find us in all of those places. Follow us, share. We post a bunch of random memes, articles, and other information on all of our social pages throughout the week. And we try to do this every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. As long as internet works well and migraines don't debilitate. Find Tank with Knox Nostalgic Collectibles also on the Facebook and other places.
Tank Knox on basically every social media platform.
So he can hook you up with all of the comic books, video games, collectible toys, cards, all that jazz. And he can also fix your video games and or consoles.
Sometimes. Unless you melt a candle into it, and then I just tell you too bad.
I have a feeling
story for
that's
another
happened.
Sounds like a recent story.
Sounds like that happened.
Yeah, and reach out to us if there's something else you want us to talk about. We're always willing to listen. If you have something we haven't talked about that came out recently or even a while ago, let us know. and we'll see if we can figure something out.
Tank and I are also big readers, so if there's a book out there that you suggest, let us know, and we'll jump on that too.
Mhm.
And on that note, everyone have a great rest of your week. For those of you who are dealing with the cold that we have here in Colorado right now, stay warm. You know, this is the time where Smurf always says, always be kind, but I'm going to say, walk softly and carry a big stick. All right, guys. Thanks for joining.
Always appreciate you having us.
Bruh. Watch Boba.